So today I want to talk about the CIA documents. First, I want to explain how about 2.5 years ago, when I first started getting into this stuff, I came across these documents, but not the full document, only a part of it. And I only focused on one part of it, which was the energy bar tool. I was explaining how crystals worked, basically. So now that it's been 2.5 years, I've integrated all of the knowledge that I've been receiving, and I've developed my own little routine. And I've been seeing a lot of videos talking about the CIA documents and the way that I use the universe. I know that, okay, we're pointing me back in that direction. So I looked back into it and realized this gateway method that they talk about in section 28 is a collection of techniques where basically they are connecting people to start interacting with higher frequencies, which essentially it's alchemy, right? Working with the mind, connecting the mind to the body, and essentially creating your reality. In the beginning of the gateway documents, it talks about consciousness being in evolution and the entire reason why this technique works. And if you've seen any of my content, it's essentially the same thing, so I won't really go over that. I'll definitely link in the video where you can read the documents. I'll share it. What I want to do today here is explain the beginning process that they talk about in the gateway process. They don't mention too much into it, and I really believe this is information that belongs to all. And when I noticed as I was reading that it was the exact same thing that I do every day, I was like, this is easy. So what I did was, actually, hold on. Okay. I basically wrote out the process, the highlighted parts that I wanted to go over. We have the energy conversion box, we have hemi-seek frequencies, resonance tuning, and problem solving, right? And so my idea for this video series is basically breaking down each section in hopes of getting people more connected to be able to tap in. Essentially, this is the beginning of meditation. We're going to start off with energy conversion boxes. The gateway process documents explains it as beginning of isolating your concerns, isolating immediate concerns in order for you to be able to get connected, right? So that would be essentially us handling any self-limiting beliefs, any self-doubts, things that would get in the way of our connection, because we are electromagnetic beings. So we have to connect, we have to electrically charge ourselves. And so this process is the beginning process of how we begin to do that. It gets us to a state where we're then being electrically charged. Essentially, it's us tapping into our higher self. And the gateway process documents mention the word higher self in the problem solving process, what is going to be one of our last videos. And so just quickly, I'll go over the rest of them. The hemi-sync frequencies, I know that this has been gaining a lot of popularity, and so it basically is the focus on the focus and the development of your perception on certain feelings while listening to certain vibrations. I know that they frequently talk about these gateway tapes, and I didn't dive too deep into it, but I know that there's certain things that they listen to as the process goes on, because it's a whole technique that they've developed. I have taken it further than just sound frequencies, because I know that some people don't like sound frequencies. Like my roommate, she was like, I don't like that. And what you want is people to essentially be receptive. And so because we're working with the sound vibration, when it comes to frequencies, the same thing we can find in music. So I use music to help tap into those feelings, and I've talked about this a little bit on my TikTok about how I connect and tap into feelings in order to really utilize my own method for 369, but we'll get deeper into that later. The resonance tuning, this kind of goes hand in hand with hemi-seek frequencies, making sure before we get to a state of tapping into wanting to attract energy or dispel energy, we need to be of a place of center. That's basically what this is. I definitely want to talk about the sacral chakra, connecting to that creative aspect of us, because that's basically the next part. After you've rooted and grounded yourself, you tap into the sacral chakra. And then right here, problem solving. I like to call it subconscious reprogramming, where after you're in meditation, once you're in meditation, you're essentially then able to connect with your higher self, connect with entities, connect with angels, ancestors, whatever. We'll get deeper into that, and hopefully by now, you know, with my content, you have a basis for understanding why these things work. And if not, like I've written books about it, so we'll go deeper into that. But for right now, we'll start with the energy conversion box, isolating concerns. So I'm big on energy transmutation. Like when you feel something, we definitely are engulfed by it, but then we do have to release it, and we release it through an action, right? The perpetual transmutation of energy, one of the universal laws. And so about a month and a half ago, I started watching this Netflix show, and it's not often that I watch TV, so when I do watch it, I know that it's for a reason. So I was watching this show called Blown Away on Netflix.
Degree Fahrenheit furnace, and you get liquid glass. Skilled glass blowers gather the molten mixture.
About the idea.
Turn up the heat. Screens. Sure you want to do this?
You know, we know what glass blowing is, right? Where basically you're blowing into this tube and this hot tube, and as you blow, the glass gets bigger. And so with my whole idea, especially with me being an energy reader, whenever I take energy, sometimes I'm always coughing or burping or just kind of expelling energy throughout my body because I'm taking on energy. And what my mom told me one time was basically she had gotten this spiritual healer, and every single time he would come around her, like, he would start coughing, and he said, don't mind my coughing. He said, I'm just allowing your energy to come out as I'm healing. You know, it comes in. It's, again, transmutation of energy. And so he would cough, and so I started taking that idea, and I was like, okay, but I don't want to cough all throughout my session. So I started to take the idea of air being the air element, a cleansing element, and I was like, okay, maybe I can just blow. So watching glass blowing, I started to have this idea of going like this. And that idea was basically taking any thoughts, any anxieties, or any energy that was not mine or that did not align with me, and I would blow it out, and I would, you know, release it out into the air. And when I first started doing it, it was good, but then through my meditation, I realized, okay, I can't just release it out into the air because now it's just in my environment. It's going to affect my environment. They need to go into these enclosures. So again, having the idea of glass blowing, I was like, you know, in my mind's eye, in this quantum neural field, this idea that our mind is working in this medium, I was like, I should be able to create these boxes, these vessels. And so that's what I would do. Anytime I would blow out energy, or I feel like I was overthinking, I would send those anxieties and I would box them up, right? But I would have to do something with those boxes. And so either I would deal with it later through a meditation, or just like sitting down working with myself, or I told myself I would then have to transmute the energy, reground. And so then I started being like, you know what, Yemane, you like to hike. So go on a hike, and what you do in that hike is you just take that, you know, take that box in your mind's eye and you send it back into the earth, right? You just do some type of little, for lack of a better word, ritual, just this movement that is intentional about you sending those energies. So now they're not in your environment, and they're not in your space. They're not in your quantum neural field, in your mental area, right? Because that area is just as real as this one that we see, if not even realer, more real. And so that's just something a little bit about me when I'm talking about I'm doing alchemy in my mind and the idea of boxes. So when I read this in the CIA documents talking about sending your concerns to an energy conversion box, and they didn't elaborate, I was like, oh, that's basically the same thing I do. And I do that in the morning time, you know, too. When I wake up, I go, after I've sit out, and this is what I'm going to explain, after I've made up my bed, after I've made that action in my mind, I realized that my body also needed to expel the energy, because just as much as it was in my mind, it's also in my body, right? This is the part where we sometimes forget that our body is just as much as this separate entity as our mind, as our thoughts, right? And so, yes, I got rid of it out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, not really out of sight, out of mind, but, you know, out of mind, but now I needed to work on my body. And so this is basically going to lead me into my morning routine. What I basically do is, in the morning time, I start off with I believe, right? Because in the morning time, I think of it as a new day, as a blank slate. You know, I'm here, I have to retell myself the story of consciousness. Yemane, you're here, we're learning, we're taking in information. Every moment is an opportunity that I am alchemizing to, you know, choose to learn about myself, right? Learn about how I operate, right? And when I have these desires, when I have these dreams, when I want to be somebody, it's because I have these other desires and I have to be that person. It's not me waiting for that lifestyle to just drop into my life. I have to magnetize that. I have to utilize my energy field. and magnetize it through my movements, right? And so I have to address my mind, and I have to address the energy that's making me stuck, preventing me from moving. And so with that energy energy box, energy conversion box, what I'm doing is I'm taking any traumas, any limiting beliefs, and I'm packaging them up out of my mind so that they no longer affect me. You know, I'm not having that mental fog, that inner dialogue of, you know, back and forth, that inner conflict. But then I have to do the same with my body, because my body is like this magnet in this material realm, attracting what it feels. And so if I get rid of the thoughts, but my body still feels those limited beliefs, my body is going to trump the mind. My actions are going to align with the limiting beliefs. Just because the body's not talking doesn't mean it's not alive. And so with that idea, the energy box, you know, because this is the beginning stages of connection, I want to show you how I take the idea of the energy box first in the mind, and then I address it with the body. And this is how I basically, this is my routine, but I've learned that this is the CIA's idea as well, and this is what I'm bringing to you. I had to take a peanut butter jelly sandwich break.
So this is my morning routine. I'm a morning person, so it doesn't take much for me to get up. What I've started to do is I've started to integrate the words I believe, I believe, I believe into the morning right when I wake up. I learned this from the book The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. The idea is that we always have this blank slate when we wake up. And so if the idea of consciousness is to evolve, is to receive information, and our actions can get in the way of that information, then I need to remind myself, give myself the game plan every morning. The idea of making up my bed intentionally is what helps me to continue this mindset. You see, my entire idea of how I live is backed behind consciousness being in evolution, and how in order to truly grow and expand in this life, we have to create some type of motion. Some law that our existence is created on is conductivity, receptivity, and frequency, meaning that you have to continue to move as you conduct yourself through space and time. And so what I do with my bed technique is I'm talking myself through it. I'm addressing certain mindsets, certain limiting beliefs. I'm asking myself what my purpose is, and I'm answering it. I'm allowing my mind to wake up. Because the mind and the body needs to wake up. It's like turning on a computer. You have to allow it to load up its screen first before you can start utilizing it, right? If the CIA documents are telling us to start interacting with higher frequencies, we have to have our body vessel be able to handle that. And we do that by slowly allowing ourselves to wake up. If I were to give a theme for what you should be talking to yourself with, it would be about protection, compassion, surrendering, love, and prayer. That's got to be your start at the beginning of the day. Consciousness has to unplug itself. We have to unclog ourselves of those mindsets, those traumas, those limiting beliefs. We do that with our mind, and then we allow the same thing to happen through our body. Before I start to do my body, I have to, again, prepare myself to get ready to deal with the day. Because the way I live is intentional in everything that I do, when I'm getting ready, if I'm messing with my hair, I'm dealing with my crown chakra, right? The hair represents knowledge. And so I like to spin my hair into clips, right? Pinwheels or whatever they're called. Because it's about, spinning myself into knowledge. Right here, I'm stretching and I'm using one of those rose quartz rollers over my jaw, because the jaw is connected to the hips, creativity. I'm doing it over my neck and over my shoulders. The neck is the throat chakra. The shoulders represents the burdens we carry. The rose quartz roller represents, love, compassion. That's what I'm infusing my body with. That's why I use these rollers. At first, I didn't really care for them, but then when I started to understand intentional action and how certain energies here, certain forms hold certain vibrations for a reason, I started to do that. I'm telling my body here that I'm showing it compassion, love, getting rid of those energies that are stuck in those. When I brush my teeth, I make sure I start off in the back because the back teeth represent your self-worth, right? Wisdom teeth. Some of the teeth in the front represent, what is it called? The shame or any times that you regretted anything. I make sure I brush my teeth because with clean teeth, it's basically telling myself that I'm worthy. Anytime I get a chance to work with water here, I release any worries. So I'm releasing any worries of self-worth, self-doubt as I'm doing this. And now here, you're gonna see me put on makeup. It's not often that I wear makeup, but here, if I do, it's what is this called? Concealer and mascara. I dab it on. But the idea is I'm infusing my energy into my look, right? I'm allowing myself to essentially tap into my Venus energy. I'm a Taurus. I'm a Pisces Venus. I attract with my Venus sign a lot through getting ready intentionally. With every dab of my finger, I dab it with my index finger. I mean, not my index finger, my middle finger. The middle finger represents the ether, connection to divinity. And so as I'm getting ready, I'm infusing myself with beauty, with those thoughts that I am beautiful. Even though I don't necessarily wear makeups, when I get ready to make videos, because it makes me feel better, right? If I get dressed, it's in the action of getting dressed that allows me to transmute and crystallize that energy. The next thing that I do to prepare myself to get ready is I always make myself toast in the morning. And sometimes I don't feel like it, but this is, if it were to go all the way, I make myself toast. Because of the idea, I made a video about this, but when I was little, about 2 years old, I made myself toast in the morning time without my mom's help. And I believe that angels helped me, whatever spirit, whatever. I was moving intuitively, obviously. And so the idea of making myself toast is in that action, I'm integrating faith. Every single time I eat toast, it's telling my body, hey, we're having more faith in ourselves. Those discussions that we had in my mind in the morning time, when I was talking myself through it, that was preparing me. Give me a sec, hold
While
on.
the toast is toasted, I want to show you. I went to my Nana's this week, and she gave me a bunch of vases and stuff, and she gave me tea glasses, 2 of them. So I have 2 of these. Comes with a little coaster, right? And a spoon, nice spoon, and a cloth. Amazing. Almost dropped it. I smell the toast.
Okay, something that I forgot to mention in the beginning, it's 4:44 on the clock, is the idea that when I am making up my bed, when I'm talking myself through those anxieties, I'm sending those anxieties into a box in my mind, right? I'm sending them there so that they get boxed up. And what that's doing is it's taking the energy out of my mind, out of my field, and it's putting it into it's giving it boundaries, right? You can't interrupt my body, you can't interrupt my reality right now. And so with that idea, that frees me to continue to move throughout the rest of my day, right? Because as I'm waking up my mind, I'm now clear of those anxieties. But those anxieties can come back because they're also within my body. So the toast part is to tell myself, I'm basically setting intention into this toast. Every single time I eat toast, every single time I have toast, it's integrating more faith in myself. That's what I mean by, keep it simple. I do certain things backed by intention, and that is subconsciously telling myself something. After I've done this, I go outside. I get some sun, I stare into the sky, I sit for a second, I eat the toast, integrate that faith. That is just basically a physical manifestation of that faith. The toast. Okay, get that idea. Here now you're going to see me stretching. The idea behind this is now all I'm doing is I am intentionally sitting down and I'm taking the lessons that I went over in my mind in the morning when I was making up my bed. I'm taking all those anxieties that I put in the box and I'm now stretching my body as if I'm stretching my body through the box, through those anxieties. Because although my mind is free of the anxieties, my body isn't. And I have to spend time on getting out of the box, out of those anxieties. And so this is basically what I do with my body, to tell my body, hey, we're clear of this. The bed part is basically allowing myself time to work through my mind, and the body part is giving myself time to work through the same anxieties through my body. Here, I'm showing you 2 dots. I put 2 dots to represent superposition. When I make a decision, all other decisions fall off, right? When I make a decision to be a certain somebody, when I make a decision to move and act within these new beliefs and not be tied to any old beliefs, when I make that decision, I shouldn't have any thoughts or any actions that align with any other realities, because the idea of superposition is that once we make a decision, once something has been observed, once we pay attention to one reality, all other realities fall apart. All things are true until we make a decision. And so to put the dots on my hands is a reminder that, hey, Yemane, we made the decision to be this person today. We made the decision to move and to think within this mindset. And because, things are happening every single day, the dots on my hand is just a quick reminder of the energy I transmuted in the beginning of the day to when I look at it, it's a quick reminder to my body and my mind being like, oh, right, I am this person. Oh, right, I shouldn't be thinking these ways. Or I should, sure, I'll give myself compassion, but it's an easy pick me up. It's an easy bring me back to a certain vibration. Because when we're asking for things to come into our reality, when we're manifesting, we have to make sure that our body, our mind is all in alignment with where we need to go. There is no waiting for a part of ourselves to just show up magically. We have to not slowly, but we just have to make those moves ourselves. And through the action of continuing to meet a certain vibration through our movements, will our reality shift? Will our reality change? Will we get and gain what we've been seeking, desiring? Okay, to end it off here, because I am running out of space on my laptop, I basically just want to say the idea of the conversion box is just to literally take any of your anxieties, picture in your mind's eye the box, and then you're doing the same idea with your body. And so this can look like just intentional action. So when you are waking up in the morning, if you take your dog out or if you go on a walk, just intentionally set that action to, hey, I'm doing this to clear through and transmute through any self-doubt, any self-limiting beliefs, even if you don't exactly know what those are. And so during that time, you can then get yourself to an equilibrium to where when you come back to yourself, you can do exactly what I'm doing here on the screen, which is actually sit down and meditate, preparing you to tap into that resonance tuning as well as problem solving. And so, like I said, the idea of all of this is just to start getting you into a routine of waking yourself up as a superconductor, realizing that you have certain aspects of you that are separate that need to come together. This is love, will, creation. Getting yourself into the mindset, talking to yourself through story, through affirmations, whatever you have to do, right? If you're someone that's dealing with self-confidence, talk through self-confidence matters in the morning time. Build up a box in your mind in the morning time, and then find something in your life that you're already doing that you can back it by intention. Okay, I'm dealing with self-confidence, put affirmation behind an action, and then put something into your routine that involves movement. I gotta go. Oh my god, I'm running out of time. I hate rushing, but basically this was my idea of the energy conversion box, where we're taking the same thing, doing it in the mind, and then also matching it with the body. In everything that we do, we need to be working in the mind and then making sure the body also has something equal to that energy effort or whatever. In the next videos, I want to talk about resonance tuning and hemi-sync frequencies, working with tuning our feelings and emotions, turning off the left hemisphere of the brain and tapping into our right hemisphere, dealing with our emotional center and our action potential, and then getting down to problem solving. Okay, bye.